Hello students, welcome back today. Today we are going to test your understanding of matter with some exciting questions that will challenge your thinking and sharpen your concept. From solid, liquid and gases to changes of state, get ready to answer, think and learn in a fun way. Don't just watch, pause the video, try each question and see how many you can get right. Let's begin the challenge. First, we will be seeing the multiple choice questions. The first question is the state of matter with maximum interparticle space. You can write the answers somewhere and at the end of the MCQs, you can just give scores to yourselves to see how much you have understood in the lesson. Yes, I think so. It's an easy answer. Which state of matter has maximum interparticle space? Yes, it is gas. Very good. Moving on to the next question, which of the following is not true with respect to liquids? Definite volume, definite shape, definite mass, and the fourth option are particles are loosely packed. So what is not true? So you need to understand, here we are asking what is not true. Yes, the correct answer is definite shape. Very good. Moving on to the next question. A gas is highly compressible because it has large interparticle space, particles tightly packed, particles with least energy and particles moving randomly. Yes, you're correct. Obviously because it has large interparticle space, that's why a gas is highly compressible. Yes, I hope you're enjoying and noting down all the answers for yourself. Next question is, as per the kinetic theory of matter, the kinetic energy of particles is inversely proportional to space, inversely proportional to temperature, directly proportional to density or directly proportional to temperature. We all know when temperature rises, the kinetic energy of particles also increases. So it will be directly proportional to temperature. Fifth question. In which of the following is the intermolecular space between the molecules the least? Is it solid, liquids, gases or both solid and liquid? So intermolecular space, in which state of matter it will be the least? Think, it's very easy. Yes, it is solid. Next. What happens to the intermolecular force of attraction as the intermolecular space between the molecules decreases? So if the space decreases, what will happen to the force of attraction? It is going to increase. Very good. These are questions based on your kinetic theory of kinetic theory of matter. Yes. In which of the following is the intermolecular force the weakest? Very simple answer. Yes. It is the gases. Yes, moving on to the eighth question. Which form of energy do the molecules of a substance gain when it is heated? So many times we have said this word. Yes, it is kinetic energy. Then moving on to our second last question. A state of matter where particles vibrate only about their mean position? Yes, it is solids. Solids just vibrate about their mean position. Then, last question in MCQs. The process of change of a liquid into vapor on heating? Very simple. Answer is vaporization. Okay, so these were your MCQs. I hope you must have written the answers. You can give scores to yourself and just see how much have you understood in this chapter. Moving to the next question, we have the fill in the blanks. So the first question is saying in naphthalene, the interparticle attraction is, will it be high or low? It is low. That's why they easily overcome the interparticle attraction and change into gaseous state. The law of conservation of mass is strictly valid if mass and energy are considered together. Those were the limitations in the law. When interparticle space increases, the interparticle attractive force will decrease, because when space is increasing, particles are moving further apart, so definitely the attractive force is going to decrease. Now, kinetic energy of molecules in helium is compared to the kinetic energy of molecules in water. So, we have a comparison between gas and water. So, which molecules will show larger kinetic energy? The gas molecules will show very large kinetic energy compared to energy of molecules in water. And lastly, this is simple, conversion of vapor or gas into liquid is termed as liquefaction. Okay, I hope you are enjoying and you are getting good questions for revision. Moving on to the next, we have few questions with reference to the liquid state of matter. So you have to keep the liquid state in your mind. On heating the liquid, do the particles gain or lose energy? Now remember, when we are heating, the particles will always gain energy. The heat's energy supplied to the liquid is absorbed by its molecule and stored as which form of energy? If you remember, you can again go back and refer to the second video. There we had discussed the kinetic model for all the three states of matter. It is potential energy. And what does this stored energy helps in the interparticle space? It helps in increasing the interparticle space. And why the interparticle attraction decreases to negligible? Because the interparticle space is increasing, the interparticle attraction decreases to negligible, and obviously the liquid is changing into gas. And at what point will the particles become free and escape as gas? It will be the boiling point of the liquid, when the liquid will become, the particles will become free and escape as gas. Next, coming to give reasons. Now for give reasons, we have got 5 questions. We'll quickly discuss these questions. Again, everything is based on the arrangement of the particles. So the first question is, solids cannot be compressed. Now why it cannot be compressed? We all know, because the particles are closely packed. Whereas in gases, the particles are far apart with large empty spaces, so they cannot be compressed. So because they have large empty spaces, so they can be compressed easily, whereas solids cannot be compressed because the particles are closely packed. Okay, so in terms of particle arrangement, you are going to explain. So in solids, the particles are closely packed, therefore they cannot be compressed. In gases, the particles are far apart. Arrangement of particles is far apart, and hence they are compressible. Then second, kinetic energy of molecules of gases is very large and of solids is the least, because in gas particles move freely and rapidly and they have more kinetic energy because they are moving more rapidly. Whereas in solid particles, the particles will vibrate about their mean position only. Wherever they are placed, there only they will be rotating or they will be vibrating over there. So they have minimum kinetic energy. Next, on heating a sublimable solids, we have the example of ammonium chloride, naphthalene. The molecules break free and escape from surface of the solid directly into vapor. Now remember, for sublimable solids, they have very weak intermolecular forces of attraction. Okay, because of this very weak intermolecular forces of attraction, what happens? That when we heat it, they easily overcome the force of attraction and they escape from the surface of the solid directly into vapor. So particles have got very low or weak intermolecular force of attraction in a sublimable solid. Then particles of matter move more rapidly on application of heat. Why? Just think and answer. What will happen when we are increasing the heat energy? Whenever we increase the heat energy, the kinetic energy of particles is also going to rise and it will cause them to move more faster. That's why the particles will be moving faster on application of heat energy. Then particles of matter possess energy called kinetic energy because particles are always in motion. Because they are always in motion, and due to that motion, they always possess kinetic energy. So these are some give reasons. Next we have assertion and reason based questions. which are very important. So you need to understand what is the meaning of assertion. It means a statement is given and the reason is given and giving an explanation for that statement. So a main statement is given like here, and few options are given like both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation. A is true, R is false. A is false, R is true. So here you need to pause and think before you give the answer. So these types of questions are being asked now in icse, so that you think, and that also adds to your application skill, that how much have you understood from the lesson. So remember, assertion is a statement that is given and reason is the explanation for that statement. So our statement is matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. That is definitely the definition part, which is correct. And the reason is saying all substances that occupy space must have mass. So both the statements, if you see, are true. So what will be our correct answer? That both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation. I hope you have understood this question. Moving to the next, it is saying solids have a definite shape. The particles in solids are tightly packed. Now, the statement is saying that solids have a definite shape. Yes, that is true. And why they have a definite shape? Because the particles in solids are tightly packed. So definitely again the option will be A. Both the statements are true and R is the correct explanation for that. Next, here you have a figurative representation also, that liquids take the shape of different containers. Based on that, if we see the question, it is liquids do not have fixed shape. They always take the shape of the container, and the particles in the liquids can move past one another. Yes, that's why they are taking the shape of the container. So both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation. And the last question in this, solids have negligible compressibility. Here you can see the three states of matter. There is no space between particles in solid. But here if you see, small spaces are there. In solids you can see small intermolecular spaces are there. So obviously the second statement is not true. So what will be the correct option? A is true but R is false. I hope you have enjoyed this video, children, and please go through it again. Like the video and share it with your friends, and you can again go through the whole video for revision. Thank you.